Hello, and welcome back to Shack Central. It is May 22nd, 2026. This is episode 10, I believe. I'm Donovan Erskine, news editor at Shack News. That is Danny, our community manager. What is up?
Yo, yo. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Officially
Yeah,
made it Friday. Looking forward to getting some relaxation time in. Maybe a barbecue or two. Should be fun.
be nice. I gotta say, what's the weather like over there? Because we have maybe the worst possible forecast for a Memorial Day weekend here on the East Coast, at least in Maryland. It is like 60 degrees and rainy for the next 3 days nonstop. So,
Yeah, no, it's definitely been a mess. We had some really beautiful weather last weekend, and it hit almost freaking 90 degrees. And then the temperature drop was real. It's been about 50 or so. Some brisk winds. So hanging in there. But I'm hoping it heats up a bit
yeah.
tomorrow and Sunday, even Monday. Even I'll take it.
Yeah, bit of a bummer. I did have a cookout that's already gotten canceled. Supposed to go to a baseball game. Don't know if that's gonna happen anymore. But
Damn, GG.
yeah, GG indeed. As the saying goes, we move. And with moving, we're gonna move right into a good old rundown because we're gonna get into everything in the world of film and television and a little bit of comics and some sports stuff. A lot of
Plenty of
sports stuff to get
goodies.
into. Oh yeah, but before we dive deep, we're gonna get to the surface level stories, stuff we're not gonna dig too deep into, but we still want to talk about nonetheless. And that includes the Rick and Morty movie. Danny, they're making a Rick and Morty movie. It's actually moving forward. It's happening based on the hit show. Are you excited?
Sure. I mean, like, this is a situation where I'm like, okay, you know, we had enough fun with
Yeah.
Back to the Future and such, and the show ran for what feels like forever at times. So why not? I feel like this is one of those things that would have popped up on a streaming service, but
Yeah, something that would have been on a streaming service, or I'm like, this should have happened like maybe 6 years ago. You think, like these animated movies based on like these shows, it feels like they should have happened,
yeah, it
to
always
fuck with
feels
the
a bit
the,
too
the
late,
situation.
and it's
Mm,
also one of those feelings too where I'm like, hey, like if he had announced that this was already in the works and it was dropping, like, it would make more sense.
yeah,
But then being like, look, you guys have something to look forward to, guys. I know how much you've been waiting for more Rick and Morty. It was given
yeah.
that Malcolm in the Middle reboot for me. I'm like, okay, come
Oof,
on,
that
guys.
that came and went. They
Like,
they say it in here that it debuted in 2013, and it's like, yeah, that means the movie should have come out maybe like 2019 or something.
yeah,
But you know,
blah.
what can you do?
It had a good run for when it did. I mean,
For sure.
people have
Yeah,
moved on, in my opinion.
I know plenty of people who loved the show, and Shaq News famously has a cameo in a Rick and Morty episode. I forget the one, but there's an episode where you can see like the underpass of like a street, and it's like a little like grimy like river going through this underpass, and there's like spray paint on all the like concrete or whatnot, and faintly you can see the Shaq News logo on it because a Shacker worked on the show.
Nice.
So there you go. We are tied to that show forever. Speaking of shows I'm tied to forever, Scooby Doo, formative for me. Danny, we've talked about it on this show. To me, one of the Mount Rushmore animated TV shows. Love Scooby Doo. And it is getting yet another reimagining, this time, though, anime style. Yokoso Scooby Doo, which got its first image. Um, Essentially is an anime adaptation of Scooby Doo. Matthew Lillard's coming back, who is like Shaggy eternally now. Um, I'm
Eternally,
curious about
yeah.
this one because this image we see Shaggy and Scooby, but then we see three characters who I've never seen before. There's a black dude, which I think is pretty cool, like a mohawk. He looks cool. And then you've got a woman with like purple hair and like was that pigtails? She looks like Hatsune Miku a little bit with purple
Yeah,
hair.
there's definitely
And then
some opinion.
yeah,
They were doing that on purpose with that one.
and then some another kind of dog. That's like a Shiba maybe. Um, but yeah, we're gonna see Scooby Doo and Shaggy and these new characters with the Go-Go Mystery Machine. Uh,
Squires with the
going
biddies. I see you,
some
man.
stuff.
And the Donovan
Hey,
shock face. Yes.
oh
use that.
no.
Use that emote. Yes. More of that,
You
please.
know, Squires, I make that face at least a few times a day in real life, so it's accurate, and we appreciate you as well for showing up and supporting. But yeah, what do you think of this? Interesting idea. This is gonna be a to-be original, I should mention, because obviously Warner Brothers Animation, WB does not care about their own IP, so I think they're about to just send this to die.
Sounds about right.
It's
I
like,
mean, I'm not mad at it. It's got the same kind of animation style as My Adventures with Superman, kind of, from what I can see.
it does, which people liked. That one had like good reasons. It's coming back soon for a third season, so yeah,
Yeah, like,
let's
I'm
see a
not mad at
comparison.
like more animation projects. I feel like there's enough space for that to happen. You
Sure.
know, especially when there's multifaceted voice cast and that kind of thing. So sure, why not?
Right.
Compared to letting the IP just sit there.
Yeah. Um. Let's see. You know, Sonic the Hedgehog, great movie series, I would say. Hated by Shaq News' Greg Burke, but liked by me at least. It's getting a fourth movie soon, which is just wrapped filming Sonic the Hedgehog 4. They are pressing forward with the series here, and Denny, with the final, not the final, this is not gonna be the last one, but
I'm
with
about
the
to say.
fourth Sonic movie wrapping filming. Oh, we're black boxes there.
Yeah, Discord,
We
please. It's breaking
got
on me. There we go.
a new image from the set with Metal Sonic, which is great. Metal Sonic, I think, statute of limitations is up now, I can say. Teased at the end of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but now stepping into the spotlight as a Sonic 4 villain. This movie is also going to introduce Amy Rose, played by Kristen Bell. Danny, where are you at with Sonic movies?
Well, I dig them, but I do feel like I'm behind one. I feel like I didn't watch the last one, so I got to catch up a bit. But they've been fun. I also feel like obviously, like the Sonic fan base, they're very dedicated. So and vocal as well when it comes to how their Sonics are shown on screen. I think some of that influence has paid off though, because I feel like they've been pretty fun and entertaining. Obviously, got talent like Jim Carrey involved, so he always gets a little bit zany. But
Yeah.
and then there's the edginess of your shadows and such. But it's a nice balance though. I think they've evened it out.
hmm he's kind of like the Jim Carrey's kind of sort of stepped into the spotlight of the series a little bit. I mean, he's not the main character, but he's
Yeah,
getting damn close. Feels like.
I feel like he knows how to make his moments on screen. Things that are memorable, but it's also like he's working on the kind of project where you get to shine a bit more, but it's also still it's Sonic, so like you work within
Yeah.
your constraints and stuff like that to kind of make it the best experience for people. But yeah, with it coming out like what March, I want to say 2027 or so.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
It's probably a sweet spot to do some serious box office numbers that early in the year. You're avoiding the Avengers and such.
You have to get a point. Unless Avengers gets delayed, which some people still think is possible.
Oh boy.
I don't think that'll happen.
Well, you're saying it now.
hmm Yeah. I'm down for this. I thought Sonic. Look, I think the Sonic movies have gotten progressively better with each one. Now, are they fantastic? Not necessarily, but I thought 2 was better than 1, and I thought 3 was better than 2, so, let's go ahead. 4, why not? Squire says I haven't seen any of these Sonic films. Good news, they're streaming on Paramount Plus. You can have yourself a little Sonic the Hedgehog marathon. A
Yeah,
Sonic-a-thon, if you will.
I want to put more money into Paramount Plus. Yeah, guys, let's get that stream going. Yeah,
Uh,
you
everyone's
know.
favorite non-problematic streaming service, Paramount Plus. Yes. Then another one, which is kind of like not breaking, but it's truly some of the most surprising news this week, and very sad out of the racing community. Kyle Busch passed away at 41 this week. NASCAR racer. had actually just won a race this past weekend.
Yeah.
And it kind of just happened suddenly. ESPN just reported today that the day before he had been experiencing shortness of breath and had coughed up blood, and then he was when they announced his passing, they said he was dealing with an illness, but it just seemed like a situation that turned very dire very quickly, which is scary, because he was again just on camera days ago, doing interviews and had just won a race. Very sad story.
Yeah.
See something like that. And yeah, it's one of those stories that kind of puts things into perspective.
For sure. I mean, like at 41, that's definitely, on the younger end. And also, that's also why people take a lot of things seriously when it comes to, when you aren't feeling well. Of course, you get the folks, I see it all the time with, some of my family and stuff, like, oh, man, look, I'm going to go and do what I want to do, etc. And, my mom or someone else, one of my aunties is like, you been feeling how? Like, you should get checked out, or we could get this going. Not to say that he isn't, but just in general, when it comes to how quickly things can turn, with some of these symptoms and stuff like that, you still gotta take that stuff seriously, guys. If you've been running on coffee and Mountain Dew and, and energy drinks and such for quite some time, I have to remind my cousins and stuff, all the time about some of those kind of things when they are just kind of zooming from class to, hanging out with their buddies afterwards and stuff like that. And they mentioned that they've been having the same, breathing issues and stuff like that for multiple days. And I'm like, okay, we should take that seriously. It's not just well, I'm young, I get over it type of deal. So yeah, if you guys have those kind of situations at times, if it gets more consistent or you have issues, tell someone. Get checked out.
Yeah. Sad story, and wishing this was family. And I think you made a lot of sense there, man. I agree with you. One that'll appeal to some folks I know here, Shack News, that love South Park. Show's coming back for its latest season on September 16th. For a second, I thought it was the 16th season, which would have made sense. I actually don't know.
Yeah, it's probably up there.
Yeah, South Park's coming back. So there you go. For all the South Park fans, I know we've got at least a few big fans on staff. Were you ever in South Park
about that life? I've actually not been in the South Park like that, but also that was more so because I didn't have cable for a long period of time as a youngin either. So usually if I saw any element of South Park, it was at someone else's house, and then when it would happen, someone's changing the channel because they're saying very vulgar words that weren't supposed to be said in front of me. But I'd always catch clips when I'm obviously when I got older. I've watched a couple episodes and stuff, and obviously I've taken some time and tuned in for a couple things more recently, and they were funny. Definitely from the political end, definitely got some chuckles out of it. But it's I don't know, after 20 so seasons and stuff like that, I'm not gonna pretend I was binging the show. But from what I've seen, it's got its moments for sure.
Yeah, and there you go. Asif jumping in the chat there. I love South Park. Last season was the best political satire on TV. Yeah, I even as someone who didn't watch it religiously, I consumed so much of it through clips and whatnot.
Yeah, long running as hell. It ain't the Simpsons, but it's up there.
Okay. Yeah, so it's season 29. God Lord, yeah, I lowballed it then earlier.
Jeez,
with my estimate, yeah, it is up there. And their seasonal structure is a bit different than a lot of shows. They kind of drop them when they're ready. Next one, Danny, is one that you sent over just before we went live here. Static, the comic book character most known for his TV show, Static Shock, is joining the new Titans in a new comic book series. They dropped a couple covers, some official artwork you see with Nightwing and Cyborg, and I actually don't recognize some of the characters in the back, but I thought this was cool. I love Static as a character. That show was formative for me as a kid. So whenever DC shows some love, I appreciate it, and I will still not forgive them for telling us there'd be a movie. And it didn't happen.
Yes. And just for everyone, reminder, okay, the character's name is Static. It's not Static Shock. Okay, that was the show.
Yeah.
All right, for folks that keep saying that every time. But yes, this is a big moment for the character. Being able to team up with the Titans and such, getting some more DC screen time, in these books and stuff like that. We want to see more of that kind of synergizing happening, so we can see Static in more major stories and such. Also, I'm loving this cover. One of the variants that is going to be around for this issue. So yeah, some great artwork there. But I'm really happy to see more of that happening for Virgil. Obviously iconic character, and seeing him get some love in this new Titans group, which I believe is going to have a few returners and some new folks too. So you see Cyborg in there. The love is real. Hey man, I love the artwork. The love they gave to the hair right here, the dreads and such too. It's banging. So good stuff there for sure.
Yeah, I really want to tap back into the comic book world this year. I went through a comic phase when I was in college, and I was bored looking for stuff to do, and I've kind of fallen off in the 2020s really. My comic book reading, but I need to get into that. And speaking of comics, one that I will 100% be reading, even if I have no idea what the hell's going on, is Spider-Man's 1000th issue. Specifically, the Amazing Spider-Man is getting its 1000th issue.
Yes, it's gonna be
this is dope.
Hey, look, Spidey's been around for as long as he has, and you can see why. Look, iconic, obviously, but people love some Spidey in these streets, and you see kind of why. Also, this cover is I don't even know what to say about that end. The shrug is kind of I feel like that half the time when I'm just reading some of these news stories.
I don't love it. I don't love the art. And part of me is Spider-Man is one of the coolest characters in the history of fiction. And there have been literally thousands of awesome looking Spider-Man cover arts. So for his anniversary, probably the most important Spider-Man comic book to be released this decade, for the cover to make him look like a turkey on Thanksgiving on a see-through table, pictured from below where he's
He's just giving he's giving you the shrug, but there's web shooters, but he's hey, I don't know, it's kind of some of the teams we saw play yesterday, but it's fine, all right. You don't have an answer.
I'm man, there have been so many cool Spider-Man covers. That was not great. I'm still excited for the issue. I love Spider-Man as a character. That means so much to me. I look forward to this. One thing I love about comics is how they treat anniversaries. This is pretty common. There's always anniversary issues of stuff, and a lot of times, correct me if I'm wrong, Denny, a lot of times anniversary storylines will be sort of a standalone thing that you can just kind of pick up and read.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is going to be the continuation of Amazing Spider-Man 999 and 998, or how they'll do it. But I know a lot of anniversary stuff is kind of designed so you can just pick it up and read it, even if you haven't been fully.
Yeah, it's gonna have a bunch of different stories and the anniversary stories and things like that. So it's gonna be a big issue for sure. Well, you got so much talent involved here. Hey man, you got Bendis, Romita Jr. here, Miller Moko, Dan Slott, Gleason. There's a ton of incredible comic book talent involved with this. So hey, look, it's gonna be worth it to check out. The headline does say Peter Parker's life changes forever, so I have no idea what that means. But that's some grave stakes. It sounds like
that's concerning for sure. Yeah. Look, I'm excited for this still. Slinky Jim's right. He's been working out. Yeah, because it's even if I shrug, my shoulders aren't by my ears, damn near, So that's Spidey, dude. That Spidey's fucking ripped. But shout out to Peter Parker, truly one of the coolest characters.
Yeah, we'll see more of him this summer. Not too long to wait now. Brand new day indeed. So hey, it's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm excited. Something else I'm excited for, Denny, is literally tonight we are getting Game 3 of the NBA Western Conference Final with the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Because our big leading story is going to be the NBA playoffs. Because my gosh, has basketball been good lately? So please excuse us as we dig in to these playoff games lately. But Danny, since our last game, since our last stream, there was a game in the playoffs that went to double overtime, in which Wemby had 40 points and played like 50 minutes as he led the Spurs to a win in Oklahoma City, giving the Thunder their first loss of the playoffs. Since then, Thunder came back and beat them in Game 2. We've also had the Cavaliers of Cleveland blow a 22-point lead in the fourth quarter to the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden. And then the Knicks went on to win Game 2 as well, so they're up 2-0. Heading back to Cleveland. Gosh, we've been eating good. We've been eating good with these games so far.
It's been some good stuff, but it's also been man. This is why we watch the playoffs. I feel like folks gotta realize it's the playoffs too, though. When it's game time, like look, you gotta keep your foot on the gas in some of these situations. Let me post that picture of Wemby. All right, just stunning on him real quick with the crowd. Yeah, get some of that energy in there.
Man, one of the coolest pictures in sports this year. Just Wemby in this game where he's just giving everything he's got. His whole team is just like, this is like a man amongst boys out here. And yeah, that is a 7 foot, 7'6" is he? Just an absolute colossus of a man.
Well, the flex was real.
Absolutely
just
insane.
a monster performance. But hey, like SGA answered back though.
He did.
He ain't just lay down. Like it went both ways, and that's what you like to see. He's built like Lord of the Rings.
Treant. Oh gosh, yeah, he's huge. It is like you watch him play, and you can't help but laugh at some of the stuff he does because he's so tall, because his wingspan is so long. There will be plays where when somebody misses a shot, right, and then another player on their team immediately hits it back in or whatever, it's called a putback. It's a common thing in basketball. When Wemby puts a shot back, he'll be out of position. He'll be on the other side of the rim, and somebody will miss, and his arm will just be
whoop,
just from the opposite side, just reach around and grab it, or somebody will go to shoot a layup on another team, and he'll just reach 5 feet behind him and block them. And it's how do you play against this dude, man? It's to the point where I saw a couple weeks ago, somebody made a highlight clip of just moments where players dribble the basketball towards the paint like they're going to go for a layup or a dunk, and they see Wemby and they do this. And they pass it to somebody else. Because they're just I'm going to get blocked. There's nothing you can do. There's no...
It's scary, man.
A shot high enough to go over a 7'4" guy with an even longer wingspan that's doing this and jumping. It's just crazy.
Yeah, now you got to worry about that freaking 3-point shot out of nowhere too.
Yeah, then for some reason this motherfucker can hit from Curry range every now and then. On top of that, dude, there's a shot in that game at the end of either fourth quarter or the first overtime where he just shoots from the Oklahoma City logo.
Yes,
20 seconds left.
Freaking insane.
It's it is literally the Steph Curry shot. Actually, I think from the same spot on the court as the Steph Curry shot.
Yeah, then the coach said that, they knew they had a 2-for-1 opportunity, so he went for it. And, hey, whoop, game is tied. You could just see the shock on OKC's bench. They're like, okay, well, what are we supposed to do about that? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Wild.
Yeah, it's absolutely barnacles. Truly one of the coolest players to watch. Also says, not since Shaq have we seen such a dominant force, and he has Curry range, crazy handles too. Yeah, I mean, just the prototype basketball player. Been so cool. I mean, we're 3 years now into his career. I remember when he was still in France, and people were like, "Dude, there's this 17-year-old who's 7 feet tall and can do everything."
That part, this man's just getting started.
Yeah, he's 22.
Insane.
22. Crazy, Reminds me of myself a little bit, because I started writing for Shaq News when I was 18. So it's a similar sort of
You guys heard it here first, like Donovan comparing himself to Wemby here. All right, lock in. All
Just
right.
raw talent coming into the
Raw
league, ready
talent
to
here.
dominate, you know.
That's right, folks. All right,
Oh
Donovan
gosh.
Wemby out here. All right, he's like,
Yeah.
oh no, AI block out of here.
Yeah, but it's been so cool to watch. And I'm enjoying it. You know, I've never been the kind of person who hates on greatness. Whenever there's like a dominant player in the sport, I usually just lean towards liking them or appreciating their talents. I think growing up, I grew up hating Tom Brady, which I still do because I'm a Ravens fan. But like these days in sports, I don't hate a lot of players, and if I do, it's for good reason. I usually like a lot of the guys who dominate the league. So so although I'm not a Spurs fan, I love watching the Spurs. I love seeing him do his
Yeah.
thing. Good for that team, good for that city, and good for my eyeballs because I get to enjoy watching them go to war every other night.
Yeah, it's always a W.
Yeah. Speaking of war, James Harden and the
Oof.
Cleveland Cavaliers have been going to war on 8th Ave in New York City, at Madison Square Garden, just getting steamrolled by the Knicks in front of Ben Stiller, Timothy Chalamet, and Breath of the Wild fan Kylie Jenner. In embarrassing fashion, unfortunately. You know, we have Army of Techno in the chat, you know, Cleveland fan, Ohioan himself, who's, you know, not been the proudest of those performances. But hey, you know, I read something last night. The Cavs went down 2-0 to the Pistons, too. And how'd that series end? In a Game 7 victory. So they might be down only 2 games now to the Knicks, but hey, anything is possible.
How far did you have to search for that? How far were you searching through everything that's happened recently to find that research for this man? Because my entire feed was where they were cooking this man all evening after after that loss. All right, they were up 22. All right, and every single clip is this man getting torched. Someone compiled them all, and I'm looking at the scoreboard. I'm like, this is every shot, back to back to back, like 20, like 19, 20, 18, like just Brunson just feasting on this man. All right, it got out of control, like out of control. And I'm just like, can it get any worse? Like, how are we not benching this man when I'm watching the score go like this? I'd already turned away from the game for a bit to check on something else, and I turned back and I'm like, what's that score? Ain't no way.
No, it's not been great. It's not been great. You know, even as a neutral observer, the 22-point blown lead kind of blew my mind a little bit, just a little bit.
Just a little bit, like you know. And I know how much that Osif, hates Danhausen, but look, okay, this man cursed the team. All right, he cursed the team.
No.
Danhausen cursed the team. All right, and so far he's 8-0 with the curses. So look,
and also to defend Osif, he made this point to us the other day. Is like, you can't curse a Cleveland sports team. They're already cursed. You know, it's like it'd be like saying like, I curse the Jets. They won't make the playoffs next year. It's like, you know, that probably was never gonna happen. He's the so. Yeah, I know he did his own counter programming yesterday, streamed over the Cavs game, which I thought was quite funny.
a mess.
But
Like,
hey,
it has been fun to watch. No, you're definitely right about that part. I enjoyed watching the feed. Getting going. This man, with all the memes were flowing like crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, like I definitely understand. Watching the game, having fun with the game and such too. It's been good times. But look, okay, like I got the clip here from Mike Brown when this man literally says, "Hey, like he says like, look, it was no secret we were attacking James Harden, and here we are a game later. At this point, a game later, and this man said, "Hey, it's not gonna stop happening. Like, we're gonna keep going, and we're gonna seek this man out every single time." And you know how much disrespect you gotta have for somebody to say that's part of your game plan moving forward on game one of the series. Look,
Yeah.
I respect Mike Brown too, but hey, that's somebody saying openly that hey, we're gonna tell you what's gonna happen here, and you're not gonna do anything about it.
Yeah, it's kind of flabbergasting, honestly. I could not imagine being that player and having people being okay with like saying they're attacking me while the series is still happening. Like it's one thing to talk shit once it's all said and done and you can't do anything.
Yeah,
But to do it while the like fate is still undetermined, knowing that he just is that bad on defense that it's not like he's gonna rebound or anything is a little damning. Little damning. But you know, that's just
I'm just gonna leave that last stat there, okay? That they
yeah.
brought up, which was that Harden has been he's had more turnovers than scores, and 6 of his 6 playoff games this playoffs, not in general, not playoffs over multiple years, this playoffs, which is crazy. How are you putting up more turnovers than actual points in that many playoff games just this year? Insanity, bro. Like, come on now.
Bruh.
Like, no.
Yeah,
Bench this man.
As he says, James Harden should not handle the ball in a team with Donovan Mitchell. It's malpractice by the coaches. I saw somebody else bring that up that like Donovan Mitchell is on this team. Like it's a crime that he's like sitting on the wing watching James Harden like dribble out the clock. Like that's a crime, which I agree because Donovan Mitchell is the best scorer on that team. So
Yeah, like I'm watching them just like take this man's cookies over and over again. Or he's like, I'm gonna pretend I'm going for this layup, but I'm gonna toss it over here to you, but it's gonna be a half-ass toss, and then it's stolen.
yeah. Also, to go further, the coaching issue. Like you can say what you want about the players. If you blow a 22-point lead with like 10 minutes or whatever left in the game in the fourth quarter, that's a coaching issue. Like
Yes.
you could put like I don't know who's like the worst team, the Nets. If you put the Nets in that game, it was like all right, you have 22 with 6 minutes left, just hold the lead. Like they would probably win. Like you know, like for an NBA team to not seed what was like a 20-1 run or something ridiculous like that. That has to be coaching malpractice. That is just mismanagement combined with poor player performance.
Yeah, I think they said they went like 19 minutes or something stupid without scoring, which is insane.
Yeah.
Like
Smith has these lazy ass bounce passes.
yes, the no one falls for, and like he's I might shoot it. I might shoot it. I'm tossed. Oh no, it's intercepted. Okay, but he's lazy as hell getting back on the other side of the other side of the court too after the turnovers. So then it's like free. We'll let them hit this 3-point shot from the same spot 4 times in a row. Oh, we're tied. Like yes, like I'm sure that like the entire fucking the fan base is just staring and like they're looking at the screen just like, hey man, look.
Oh shit, here we go again.
All right, they're just staring over and over again like, look man, can we do something about this man? And the coach is like, no, we can't. I won't use any timeouts either. Okay, despite this being the kind of game it was.
Yeah,
I'll keep those timeouts and we don't gonna use those. All right, don't need to stop any momentum here. I'll keep it in my back pocket.
Well, I gotta ask you now, Denny, as we kind of wrap up our playoff talk here. What's your finals pick? Who do you think meets in the finals once it's all said and done? Who do you think wins it?
I feel like I want to root for Wemby and the boys. I think it's gonna come down to like really more so if everyone stays on the floor. We had a couple issues this past game. I want to root for them actually making this happen. SGA and the boys though, like I feel like he's kind of taking that personal, but that's what I want it to be though. Like I want it to be Knicks versus Spurs. I think because obviously Cleveland ain't going nowhere. So I'm gonna put the money on the Spurs here because of the way that Wemby talked after game 1 about how he's taking it personal for not getting an MVP. I feel like he's going to play with the amount of effort that he will to make this actually doable. And I don't know how they're going to stop him in the long run. The only way to stop them so far, it seems, is by SGA and the offense just really picking up to the point in which, hey, we're going to just flat out outscore you. And you're not going to be able to stop me enough to keep these points rolling. But there's room here to make some strategies happen where, hey, look, obviously Oklahoma can play defense. Nobody on that floor is gonna be able to stop Wemby consistently though. You have to wear that man out. In which case, they may have a plan for that, but
yeah, they've been giving him hell pretty much. I am still torn, honestly. I mean, definitely the Knicks out of the East. With the West, I'm just so torn because the Spurs have obviously shown they can go toe to toe with OKC, but right now, I think tonight's game, Dylan Harper's like a game time decision. He's big for them. De'Aaron Fox already missed 2 games. I worry if injuries become a factor. If it's just Wemby and like Stephon Castle, if they'll have enough in the tank to keep up with the endless lineup of guys that OKC has.
Yeah, like if it's a situation where like if they're not playing, then it's an obvious W. I feel like for OKC, it's gonna take the entire squad to be on the floor to make that happen. But
yeah, they need everyone for sure. But I think whoever comes out of the West will beat whoever comes out of the East. Just because I think the Cavs, or not the Cavs, the Spurs could beat the Knicks pretty handily. I think the Thunder could beat the Knicks pretty handily. That said, it's not to say that the Knicks are playing for nothing. Anything's possible in professional sports.
I mean, I feel like it might get interesting though, because if they wrap up this Cleveland series quick enough, you got some downtime, and OKC and the Spurs might go, 6-7 games.
Yeah, that's a good point. That like if this series just gets ugly and it goes 7 games, it takes everything out of OKC and San Antonio. And they got nothing left, and then the Knicks have been like waiting for a week with their feet up. Yeah, it could be an uphill battle. But yeah,
I see also saying, did you see that Yahoo research piece about SGA flopping more than anyone in the league? I heard about that happening. I didn't see the actual research piece about it, but I saw people commenting on it. In which case, like, I feel like that's kind of hard to argue. Like, if he's not doing the push off, then it's usually there's usually the fadeaway. Oh, they hit me. Usually one or the other. So that doesn't surprise me. But at the same time, even with the fallback, I mean, you gonna keep falling back against Wemby, bro? I mean, you want that action? I don't want that action. Like, if you want to fade, and this man will just loop over. He touched me. That's not gonna work, bro. You can see enough in that scenario. But somebody else will need to step up on that end. He's gonna be like, I don't see him getting aggressive in the paint the same way. Even if it involves him, going for the flop action. You can call it the coercion or whatever, but I don't think the NBA wants to see the finals end up in that kind of scenario where like you got like your top player and a Wemby and such fouling out from somebody falling backwards on their ass over and over again.
Right. Yeah. When it comes down to the fouls and stuff, I just blame the NBA. They are the only ones who could solve this if they truly wanted to. Because, at the end of the day, the players do what they know is going to put them in a position to win. If that means being a, Broadway actor on the court, that's what they'll do. And the NBA lets them all get away with it. They see it, and they're just like, we're not going to change the rules or give our referees new mandates. So we're just going to let this be.
Yeah, so this is exactly what they don't want, would be a scenario where, like, you got the players out in the finals here over stuff that they're clearly trying to take advantage of. So we'll see how it goes, how the calls go, too.
Yeah. Looking forward to coming back to that conversation as the playoffs progress. Going to jump into some film and TV news stories now, which we unfortunately have to start with an unfortunate story because Tom Kane, famed voice actor, passed away this year at 64. Danny, this guy was in everything, man. He was Yoda in the Clone Wars cartoon. He was Professor Utonium in the Powerpuff Girls. Maybe his most significant role for me, but he was in Foster's Home, Kim Possible. He played Magneto in a lot of like the animated Marvel stuff.
And Marvel's Capcom 3. All right, I heard this man's voice all the time, whooping my ass. Okay, Magneto. The man used to just go in, burning my brain. But yes,
legendary career. Always sad when something like that passes away. I was very touched. I saw the picture. in his final days, the three actresses that played the Powerpuff Girls went and reunited with him, and he had like the professor suit on, and they took a picture with him, which I thought was quite sweet. But sad story, sad story.
Yeah, we've had some tough losses the past couple of weeks, but I'm glad to see folks cherishing this legacy and sharing some of those moments across the different timelines and stuff like that. And it's been pretty cool to see that folks are coming together and sharing some of like those best moments and things like that. Because again, like you said, he's been in some of everything. So like stuff I had no idea he was part of, was popping up on my feed, and I'm like, whoa, he was in that too. So pretty cool to see. But yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, TJ said he was hoping that if they brought Magneto into Tokon, that Tom Kim could come back to play him. Heartbreaking. Yeah, it is. And maybe there'll be an homage to him in there somewhere. But RIP to a legend. A true legend.
For sure.
Danny, next story is going to be on a much brighter note. And at risk of sounding hyperbolic, maybe one of my favorite stories, maybe my favorite story in film this year, Obsession, opened to $17 million at the global box office this weekend, and actually at the time of this recording is at $30 million at the global box office.
Wow,
after
there's
just a week and a half, about to go into its second weekend, where it's projected to make more than its opening weekend, which never ever happens in movies ever. This film was made on a $750,000 budget. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of money. I'd kill for $750K right now. But in film production terms, $750K is like $300. That is like literally making a movie for like couch cushion change. And it has made its budget back multiple times over. Could end up making like 100 times this budget by the time its run is over in theaters. It was directed by Curry Barker, who was a sketch comedian on YouTube. He was a film student who dropped out to make his own short films with his buddy Cooper Tomlinson, and he kind of made this pivot into horror on YouTube a few years ago, where they keep doing sketches, but then they did this horror short called The Chair, and they did this horror features, an hour long, called Milk and Cereal, which I watched a couple years ago. Very good. It's a found footage horror movie. It's free on YouTube still on his channel. And then got his debut feature with Obsession, and it is a movie about a guy who wishes this girl he had a crush on liked him or was in love with him, and it backfires in perhaps the worst way anything could ever backfire on a human being.
Oh, you know.
And yeah, it's just been a runaway success, Denny. 17 million to open is crazy. This has been just a smash hit. I think my friend group, there were 7 of us. We went to go see this together. I'm going to review it here on the show in a little bit, or maybe I'll just do it now because we're already talking about it. But just one of the craziest stories in Hollywood this year.
Yeah, I definitely am looking forward to catching this weekend. I was holding out, waiting for someone I promised I would watch it with, so that's happening.
Yeah.
But yes, I've heard great things about it. From tons of my horror friends and stuff like that who are watching plenty of different stuff. There's been so much great horror and mixes of different variety of the horror end happening pretty much week to week at this point. We got the back rooms coming up too.
Yeah,
so like so many things dropping back to back. I believe Passengers is also this week. So there's different things happening.
This week, opening tonight.
Just basically, just flowing right now. But this is a massive success for a new director on his first feature film. Having this kind of blow up like this. I know Blumhouse is happy. Like this is massive.
Blumhouse is ready. They've already. I think Jason Blum on the red carpet was like, we already got his next movie locked up. They're ready.
Man, I believe like he mentioned didn't the director mention like he was considering like a spinoff TV series type of deal and that kind of thing being a thing?
Yeah, he said in an interview that he could see it being like an anthology show where you just see different people with the one wish willow, which is the item he uses to make his wish. Which I'll get into. You haven't seen it yet. I'm not going to spoil. I'll give a totally safe review here, but Yeah, I thought that Obsession was just amazing. One of the more creepy, unsettling horror movies. It's scary, but not in like the traditional sense, where it's not necessarily like jump scares and whatnot. It's the subject matter, it's the way scenes play out, it's the cinematography, the way this is shot beautifully. Beautiful use of like foreground, background, which I love in a horror movie. The music, the music. Is beautifully done. I saw Curry Barker talk in an interview that his composer just gets his filmmaking style. He was like, he's going to compose every movie I do because he's just so good and understands like his process so well. But then the performances, man, my gosh, I'm gonna sound like everybody else on the internet, but I gotta say it anyway. Indy Navarrete, who plays Nikki, the woman who is like victim to this wish in
Yeah.
this movie, is just giving a performance that like should be considered for awards at the end of the year. Like the year's not even halfway over. I will be shocked if you tell me this is not a top 5 performance from a woman in film this year because she is so good playing this like this young woman who's got ambitions and ideas and strong opinions and whatnot, and who's like a little sassy and cool and is like this part of this core friend group, and then playing this like just evil force that character turns into, and just the range she shows, and like it's a script that demands a lot from her. She's asked to do a lot in this movie. Again, not getting into spoilers, and she's just there for all of it. And there's so much that she did that we in the theater, like me and my friends, were like, "Oh my god, what the fuck!" Like we're like reaching and looking at each other, and people are like gasping. It is a ride of a movie. I thought it was damn good. It's one of those that like, it's one of those movies. You know, how people talk about like, people say stuff like they don't make them like this anymore. It just feels like a good old school horror movie. The kind you watch it where you want to like yell at the screen. You want to be like, "Don't do that! Why'd you say that?" And it is just to call it a delight. Probably not the right word, but just such a exhilarating watch. One of those you watch and you think, "Damn, what would I do? What would my wish be? Or how would I react in this situation?" And it is like, in some ways, a very mean-spirited movie. There's some stuff they do that I'm just like, "Oh my god, this is fucked up. This is so wrong." But it's effective. It's quite good, and
Hey, that's what I like to hear.
can't wait to rewatch it. Yeah.
I've been hearing that a lot too. Like people actually saying like it might have gone some places, but I also really want to watch it again. And that in itself is telling you that sound like an all timer right there. I've had friends bringing up they're going to see it in theaters again this weekend, and that's some big stuff right there. So again, like, hey, horror is killing it right now, and also like I'm glad that they're calling this a straight up horror film. It's not quote unquote elevated horror. Guess what, folks? Horror can be great and also have
Right.
award-winning performances and this kind of depth to them without it being quote-unquote elevated horror. Like, keep that in mind. There's plenty of things happening here, and you saw it with Sinners and such last year. This is happening right now, so lock in and join
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, and then my friend Ash in the chat here, screen name Henny, who's there with us. So I'm still shook by you know what. Yeah, it's it's a crazy movie. Does some stuff that I was not expecting. I was absolutely shocked by, but it deserves all the success. I'm so excited about it, and I'm looking forward to like whatever Curry Barker does next. They've already hired him to do a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Oh wow.
And he has a Ghost movie that's coming out with him actually in it, and then Aaron Paul, Bryce Dallas Howard, I think next year, that he's already filmed. So, yeah,
Yeah,
good
that's
times ahead.
big moves,
for
man.
genre. Oh yeah, and I am thrilled for it. Denny, we also had a long-running TV show come to a conclusion this week with The Boys on Amazon Prime. It's over. The Boys has ended. Originally airing in 2019, season 5 is wrapped up with Homelander and Huey and Billy Butcher and all those characters. Have you seen The Boys, all of it? Or are you caught up? Where are you at with the show?
I've started the newest season, but I'm not fully caught up with it completely. There was too much media happening for me to completely get there. I also felt like it felt a bit like, I don't know, the energy was kind of like setting up for other projects or something. Like there's some spin-off energy and stuff. Uh, but I was enjoying some of what I was seeing. I mean, I was more than the season behind originally. I want to say I was on season 3 before I started watching again. Um, and with my memory issues being where they was, I had to watch and read synopsises and stuff to get back in the place for some of it. But I'm interested to hear kind of like how you felt about the finale and things like that. I've been pretty much just hitting spin moves on YouTube and everything else here because all I could see was just like the boys is finished, the boys like just all over the place. Vought Rising was like on like just spread everywhere. Like I could see like just trailer for like just over and over again. So clearly like they've been pushing out to the media quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you feel? Do you feel like it's been a satisfying conclusion? Do you think that the season as a whole was satisfying? Do you feel like they left some things out there that could have leaded some more follow up or some more depth to it? Do you think it was exciting enough? I've been seeing a lot of different commentary from folks about the overall season, and like different commentary from the actual finale itself.
Yeah, I was super into it. I thought that the finale stuck the landing. I think season 5 has been pretty uneven. Probably the weakest season of the show overall. But I think that the way they wrapped it up with the last episode, or even I'd say the last 2 episodes, I thought was pretty satisfying. I know people have been super divided on it, but I thought that all of the main characters kind of end in places I would have liked or was expecting or was satisfied with. Like, it didn't feel like they left a bunch of threads hanging. They didn't like slap me in the face and like pull like a hard left turn or anything. I thought that a lot of it made sense for like what the story has been and who these characters are. Obviously there's always stuff that I wish we like could have seen or things I wish we could have gotten to, but I thought it was pretty good. And I think the last episode specifically almost kind of harkened back to the old school feeling of The Boys. Specifically the way it's like filmed. A lot of the like dialogue and character stuff I thought was much better than some of the episodes before. So I was into it. There have been much worse series finales to beloved TV
I mean
shows.
that's definitely fair. I mean, Game of Thrones still, but
that's the poster child. For sure.
So do you like having things ended and things like that? Like, are you looking forward to like some of the spin-off action they have planned? Do you want to keep exploring things in this world? If they announce some like animated show or something, like do you care enough moving forward to like want to keep going down that route, or are they kind of like, okay, that was a good conclusion for me, I'm wrapping up?
I'm interested. I'll watch Vought Rising. I'll give it a shot. Will I stick with it? I don't know. Kind of annoyed about how Gen V sort of ended.
Yeah,
abruptly,
that was definitely
getting
shitty.
Getting canceled, and then like them like not really doing anything with those characters that felt all that fulfilling. So we'll see. I think Vought Rising is coming out next year, so I'm willing to give it a shot. But I don't need much more. The Boys, I think it's okay for stories to end. I will rewatch the show one day when the time is right, but I think I'm good for now. I think it needs some time to kind of just be away.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can definitely feel that too, because when you have major successes, it seems like they're kind of like trying to force it on you, and obviously like Amazon wants some of those W's too, pretty heavily. We've seen like with Invincible needing like the way that things kind of get pushed when they do. You don't want things to like overstay their welcome at times, and also like you said, Gen V going the way it did. Definitely didn't sit well with me either.
Right. Yeah. Not pleasant, not exciting. But hey, I think to me again, it stuck the landing. Not the best season. I felt a little bit the same as I did to Stranger Things, where it's like the final season was not great, but but I thought that the finale felt satisfying enough. I thought they put those characters in the right places. It didn't feel like some epic betrayal of the storyline or anything, which is, I suppose, the most important. But I'm curious to hear what you think once you are able to finish out the season.
Yeah, I definitely will follow up at some point and be like, hey, this was great or this sucks. I'll give an update at some point.
Yeah. Nice. Well, something outside of the review sphere, we got some news that you tossed in here about Quinta Brunson, creator and star of Abbott Elementary. She's going to play Betty Boop in a feature film.
Whoa, Betty.
From Fleischer Studios and Fifth Chance Productions. This is pretty cool. Betty Boop is not a character you see very often in modern projects.
Yeah, I think that the casting was perfect. Like, Quinta's been rocking the looks that are giving complete Betty Boop for years now. At most, like, public functions and award shows. I'm like, hey, she's got all the charisma and goofiness and everything else you would want from the character in this way. So the Fletcher family making this happen and that kind of thing. Obviously, you're going to have the usual crowd that comes out and not my Betty Boop, and they have no idea what the fuck the character was. I'm not going to like there's always the racists that pop up who are just so upset about a character that, was tied back to an original, black artist as well. It's just annoying. At the same time, we know that y'all didn't care about Betty Boop. All right, like, we're not gonna pretend that like you've been. I'm the biggest Betty Boop fan in the world. No, you weren't. All right,
No.
You're just bored on a Tuesday. So Quinta's gonna kill this. All right, I already know there's gonna be no, obviously you have to see what goes on with the actual production end, directors and such, and like the route for the film and those kind of things. But as far as like the actual look and like feel of the character, like, this is pretty much made for her, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this is a cool kind of fun project for her to jump into. And whenever you're working with an IP that is kind of dormant or doesn't really have a modern identity, you sort of have like the freedom to make it whatever you want, right? There's not really many expectations on what this is supposed to be going into it, which means they can make it whatever they want it to be. So good for her. I'm a Quinta Brunson fan. Then as we transition into music here, you've got an album that you want to review, an album that you say is your album of the year so far.
Yes.
Here in the music space. So please, I am very curious to hear about this because it was not on my radar.
Hey, look, all right. More folks need to be checking out the boy, Duran Bernard. All right. Yes, that's right, Asif. All right. Now, I know it might be a bit different from like, the hip hop and shitting on Drake that we've been doing, because it's been pretty easy to do. Iceman cometh. But I gotta give credit to Duran Bernard here. He's been killing it pretty much. I gave this some play. The album came out at the beginning of May, and I ran through that, on walks, in the car, some everywhere. All right. For those that don't know, Duran Bernard, he's got several albums out now, but he's also he won a Grammy for the best progressive R&B album as well, with his album Bloom, the previous album before this one. This album is just called Bernard with a period. And yes, Bernard's been out in the game for quite some time, moving through. But also he's done background vocals for several different artists and that kind of thing too. And this album, he absolutely kills it. All right, if you like different rhythm and blues, souls vibes, all that jazz, you're gonna get on this album. Basically, like, from the Mariah Careys to the Mary J. Bliges, he's giving you some of that, all of that. Like, the amount of variety on this album overall is incredible. Like, each song is going somewhere different, and he's multifaceted, but like he has a good ear across the board. I couldn't play the video, but he drops some video as well. Like, I've been doing this, and it's been a thing for me, like, for a long time. It's like, video of him as a kid, with a microphone in his hand, hitting the piano and such, when he's like 5 years old. Like, he's been putting that kind of time in, and it's come together in a way that, like, it shows on his album. And once again, his other album, Bloom, he has a vinyl Grammy edition now for pre-order, because that won last year. All right. Yes, a Grammy winner here, because his last album was banging. All right, and this one was even better. So, if you want some smooth sound, some good vibes, all right, the kind of thing that you mentioned, sipping on some wine and such earlier. All right, you can put this on and get any of that popping. There's some high energy for some of these. Like, one of my favorite songs on the album is called Effort. All right, just Effort, all caps. All right, you get some nice little bass line going there. Says you're gonna get your heart rate up. I'm doing a little shimmy and stuff. It all works out nicely. He's got another song on here called My Life, which I feel like he was doing as a tribute to a certain extent to Mary J. Blige, who also had an album called My Life, and it gives pure Mary J. vibes. Like, he's getting like a full-on ballad out there. All right, the vocals are killing it. And shout outs to my homegirl Story Mode Bay, who did a full like reaction to the entire album the other day as well. And I popped in there for a little bit, and folks are like, they were agreeing with me, because I'm like, y'all hear this, right? Like yeah, yes, he was killing it. So yes, definitely a high recommend for me. There's several different tracks that will be worth playing multiple times, but I would not be surprised if he's back in the Grammy conversation for this one this year. Across the board, give it a play on your whatever, your Apple Music or Spotify or whatever. I think it's highly worth it, especially at the longer weekend going on here. You need some jams. He's got them for you. He's got some several guest appearances. Even Big Sean shows up on this album to drop a verse.
Okay.
Like, he's
all right.
Yes, he's making things happen. So I'd say, like, it's definitely worth your time to check out and show some love to you. I even dropped the clip in here. I'm trying to find it real quick. He's mentioned as well, like, wanting to go into comedy potentially, and get some of that side going. And also, he recently had an appearance on The Breakfast Club, speaking about like LGBTQ rights and stuff like that, but also like how he feels like a lot of things are tied to emotion, and breaking down some of like why homophobia is stupid and such on the show, having real conversations with the folks like Joe Budden and folks being like, hey, look, like, we're above that. And there's been plenty of positive energy from his fans and everywhere else. But he's a real fun guy to also hear live on stage, which I thought was like pretty cool to see. So he's supposed to be coming to Chicago, I think, in July. I might have to slide through and make some things happen for that one.
Yeah.
I posted just a little quick clip here. This man was performing live, and he likes to do this kind of stuff to his fans on the actual stream. Man's was, he's a great live performer. All right. Scared the hell out of this woman on the side. just cause. Well, you better pay attention. Put your phone down. All right.
Jump scared this lady.
Yes. All right. So he'll do that. Well, you better pay attention to my vocals over here. All right. Give us some love. But yes. All right. Check them out. For sure. Like, both this album and Bloom have some really good tracks on it. But yeah. Gets a 5 stars from me.
Nice. I'm going to listen to this too. Yeah, it was really on my radar. Austin says he's got it in his queue. I'm going to have to load this up too on Spotify and save it so I don't forget. Nice. Thank you. Bringing a positive album review after the nonsense I had to talk about last week.
Yes, for sure. Completely different experiences. All right. There won't be any glitter glove showing up here.
Yeah. Yeah, I was the same thing. Said nice palate cleanser after this. You guys break down Drake's nonsense last week. Yeah. And hey, speaking of streaming platforms with music on them, Spotify is doing something that's certainly interesting. Spotify and Universal Music Group announced a licensing deal for recorded music and publishing rights, enabling Spotify to launch generative AI music models in the future. With this deal, Spotify's models will allow fans to create covers and remixes of their favorite songs from participating artists and songwriters signed to UMG. So it's like, I don't want to hear like that, you know? Like when they say cover, I'm assuming they mean covers of like artists for the artist, right? So let's say, let's say Selena Gomez and Sabrina Carpenter have both signed their rights over to this. You could like tell it to give you Selena Gomez covering Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter, and it'll just play it. Like, here's Sabrina Carpenter's voice singing Espresso. But it's like, that's not fun. That's not what covers are about. The thing about a cool cover is when an artist makes it their own. It's not about like, using a voice mod and spinning the dial to make it just sound like.
There's also
else.
a thing called, I don't know, like DJs when they will loop things appropriately over someone else's track. You remember when that was a thing? When there's actual people involved and not whatever the hell this is. Like Spotify, like guys, like and this is. I don't want to be flooded by this nonsense, and they better not put it into my fucking playlist or any kind of like mixture of this is what we're gonna get going here. No. All right.
Yeah. Well, as I say in the article here, Denny, it says these AI products will eventually become available to premium member users as a paid add-on. So my understanding is that this is like a bonus thing you have to pay extra for in addition to premium, which makes me think most people probably won't have this and you have to pay for it if it's not part of base premium, which is an interesting strategy.
We need more money to, AI. We need to get more cash in. They'll buy it, right? No.
Yeah, and Spotify has done a lot of experimenting with this tech. They did the Spotify DJ, which has actually been around for a few years at this point. I see now, they don't call it AI, but it's like the prompted playlists they offer. It's always on my home screen. It'll be like, oh, example, I want a good song for like reading a book on a rainy day by the window or whatever, and then it'll like load up a playlist of songs based on that criteria. So this isn't too surprising. Universal Music Group is a big label. UMG is a big label. A lot of your favorite artists are under Universal Music Group, including, not limited to, Kendrick Lamar is one of the big ones that comes up. Obviously, that was a big sticking point of the beef, him and Drake both being under UMG at separate subdivisions. It's a huge label that owns a lot of smaller labels that have a lot of artists signed to them. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, but I can't imagine this being the next big thing for Spotify or musicians anywhere, really.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make the kind of wave I think it's going to, but I'm sure somebody, in a boardroom told them, like, this is going to be a great option for you. It's going to be versatile and lead to so much profit potential, knowing damn well that no one's going for any of this shit. No, thank you. Yeah. We're good.
I like the Build a Boy thumbs down.
Yes, that shit out of here.
That's pretty good.
Scram, Spotify, scram. UMG.
Yeah, my goodness. And we're gonna get back into some sports stuff. We talked about basketball earlier because it was our leading story. We're gonna circle back to other sports stuff, but before we do, what I asked, we were talking about Wemby earlier. So we're asked, what player from, I'm actually going to expand this one day. Say, what player from NBA history would you send after Wemby? Who would you like to see him go up against? I also mentioned Shaq earlier. That would have been a crazy battle because it's kind of like strength versus length. But we've kind of seen him compared to a lot of the greats before. So who would you throw down there with him? I'm going to say Hakeem Olajuwon, just because he was Wemby's mentor last offseason, I believe. He was like working with him and doing drills and stuff. So
that's a good choice.
Throw out.
I feel like I thought about a few different options. Like it's like Asif did mention Shaq earlier. I was thinking more of like the Bill Russell type of energy, or like
he's mentioned Bill Russell as well,
you know, like Kareem with the hook action, and them going kind of head to head would be fun. I'm leaning more towards like I think I would go like the
shot over 8-foot wingspan. You know.
Yeah, like setting up that kind of shot, I think would be like it would be fun as hell to watch, and like you know, just iconic, kind of see more of that going on. Like you know, I feel like having David Robinson involved was like that's up there for me too. But Kareem hits that that sweet spot for me where I'm just picturing that you know them having to play up and making him uncomfortable enough, you know, with the range and necessarily not having to be in the paint for that to work. I would go with Kareem probably for my first choice. I see a couple here from Asif. Yeah, Wilt Chamberlain. Yeah, Bill Russell. Like I said earlier. Yeah, Wilt would be one of those that would be pretty interesting too. If you got like the on ball experience, but then like you said earlier, like this is some stuff that you haven't seen in the league before. But those were some creative guys, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gosh, Yao Ming. Imagine those guys standing next to each other. Imagine one of them sitting on the other's shoulders, like the size of a small house. Yeah, all good picks. Then you got an AEW story in here in the wrestling world. One of my favorite parts of the show here, and you catch us up to speed of what's happening over on that side of the entertainment sector.
Yes, sir. So AEW's got some announcements happening here. Also, you know, AEW does have a pay-per-view happening this weekend as well. AEW Double or Nothing, which you know is going to be a big one for them. It actually had the second highest gate for an AEW pay-per-view basically since the company started. So massive showing here. This is going to be a huge show. Unfortunately, you know, one of my favorite champions, Willow Nightingale, the TBS champion, announced that she is injured, had a shoulder injury and had to relinquish the belt right before the pay-per-view, which is, you know, made me sad. Or I'm like, she's going to be able to do a full championship situation, you know, basically putting up against several other women for the Owen Hart tournament, right, you know, in front of all these people. And unfortunately, she can't wrestle, so a sad one. But there's also some major news dropped as well from Tony Khan. He brought up the AEW will be collabing with the MLB, the Major League Baseball,
really, with
the Twins. And Donovan's face says it all.
The Twins of Minnesota, yes, yeah.
Yes, that's right. The Minnesota Twins will be having a collaboration happening here. Like I mentioned, you know, how they had the fight on the fairway from hell a couple weeks ago. You know, getting time in with things here. I'm trying to line the clip right before I show it to you guys because I want to make sure you see what's happening here before I switch over. But yes, AEW they're doing Brawl in the Ballpark on July 10th. Which will be going down. Brawl in the Ballpark. We get some more wrestling information happening. Some VIP passes and such at Target Field. But I thought this was hilarious. They had the one and only Jeff Jarrett pulling up here, and you know we got some ball player action. And he's like, "Hey, guess what? You know I'm making the announcement. You know we got Dante Martin over here, the Martin brothers getting involved there, and then Jeff Jarrett's like, here, eat a guitar. Just hold that real quick." All right, this man's taking over. Just says, "Hey, this is my show now." All right, just ridiculous. So yes, Minnesota, you have some things going down soon. We get some wrestling action on the ball field. It seems like Tony's doing more of these tie-ins now, having them actually happen. Just Jeff Jarrett's old ass is just popping up here, going off. But there's gonna be more of that happening. Basically, more of these crossovers of like actual wrestling. And promotions happening on the actual field, and you have these situations where like you've got it already built in the stadium and such, so they can kind of fill those out, make it kind of closer to you know the arena and that kind of thing. As you can see, they're brawling out now in the middle of the ballpark. but yeah, so Tony seems to like having more of this element happen, where there's some crossover happening with other sports fans and sports organizations. He made some lucha masks happen as well recently for all the different sports teams. You could get your own lucha mask to wear and that kind of thing. So yeah, and I'm not sure if you know, but Tony is involved with the Jacksonville Jaguars. His father owns
That's
the
right.
team.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's got those
Owners,
kind of
yeah.
connections too, as far as like working with different companies and that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's gonna be a post game wrestling event basically on July 10th after the game.
You know, it sounded weird when you first explained what was happening. That actually kind of makes sense to me because, one, the MLB has been kind of like dying to make itself more relevant over the last couple of years. They've had so many collabs with anime properties. You've seen them do like One Piece night, a lot of pop culture crossovers, Star Wars, Marvel nights, and whatnot. So it seems like a cool, mutually beneficial thing because AEW is always also trying to raise awareness. So I think anything that can get more eyes on baseball, they're going to be all for. So I can't say I'm too surprised there, but sure, why not? This is random as hell, but you know what? We got to use baseball stadiums more. You know, they're
Yeah,
great for concerts. They're good for whatever this is. It works. It works. So you know what? I'm not mad at this. Why not?
yeah, I had fun watching Darby Allen, beating up people on the golf course. So I want to be mad at getting some action going. Like, but go ahead and bring him over to the Cubby side. You know, have some fun with some Chicago natives. Not CM Punk though. I know Asif's not a fan, but
Oh,
can't
okay.
can't have Punk and Danhausen show up because someone else might get cursed, and the
Understood.
Cubbies just got through
Yeah.
after their World Series situation. So please, we can do this, guys.
Then, alrighty. I'm gonna jump into some other sports topics here. Returning to the world of basketball outside of the playoffs. Then the Mavericks of Dallas
Yeah.
fired head coach Jason Kidd, which is surprising to me. He had 4 years left on his contract. They just extended him like a year ago. Now he's
Yeah.
done. 1 year into the Cooper Flag era, just drafted one of the biggest prospects the last few years of basketball, and full on reset over in Dallas. I saw somebody mention that it's only been like a year and a half since the Luka trade, and now they have just gotten rid of everybody involved with it at Dallas. Nico Harrison, the GM who made the trade, gone. Jason Kidd, head coach at the time, who we never really knew the true story, whether or not he was in on the trade or not. Some reports said that he was aware and cool with it. Some said he was surprised, like the rest of us. We'll never know the true story there. He's gone. But then even the players they got for him, gone.
Yeah.
They traded Anthony Davis to the Wizards. I guess Max Christie's still there, but I don't know how consequential that is. But it's just crazy. This trade that like will go down as one of the craziest in the history of American sports. It's like almost just been scrubbed. Like the only saving grace for the Mavericks is that they got the number one pick last year and took Cooper Flag. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not the person that's like, oh, the NBA just rigs the draft every year for who they want to have number one. But man, it's hard to fight the evidence there that they
Yeah.
sent Luka to Los Angeles, a city that was about to be dying for a star after LeBron James retires soon. And then they just luckily jump up to get the number one pick in the draft, and it's a kid who is like maybe after Wemby, the most touted prospect of the last 5 years. Yeah, just fascinating.
It's
sequence
real
of
messy
events.
for sure,
Mhm.
and I didn't see this coming either. But I mean, are we going to be surprised if someone snatches him up quickly? Like, I mean, come on now. Like,
Well, what would you think? I know Asif kind of suggested this in our Slack. Would you think of the Bulls getting him? We're looking
I
for a
want to be
coach.
mad at that. Like,
You know,
I feel like that would fit. Like this, like, hey, like Jason Kidd's gonna make you play hard. Like
that's true.
you're gonna have to play. And if we're putting together, rebuilding, quote unquote, like establish that foundation here with players that are going to have to do that to get the kind of spots they want on the team. So yeah, I think that would be that worked for me. Got no
I'd
issues
be
with
into
it.
it. He's a good coach. I think I've liked him in all his stops so far, and yeah, it could be interesting to see him with a team like the Bulls or one of these rebuilding squads. Uh, Jumping over to the world of football, the NFL, we're almost rid of Aaron Rodgers.
I
He
like how you said
confirmed
that.
he was asked by a journalist if he would be ending things after this year in the NFL, and he said this is it, confirming that he will retire after the 2026 football season, which, great! He just re-signed with the Steelers. He will end his season in Pittsburgh, and the final game of his regular season will be at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore.
All right, let's go. All right, let's wrap this up. All right, like Donovan was speaking like it was the Babadook and shit. Like his reign is over. Please get him out of here. We
Look,
prayed for
Aaron Rodgers,
times like
42 years
this.
old. He's been around the block. He's one of the last of the old guard QBs. Or maybe I guess he is the last. Who's left? Because Brady's gone. Yeah, I guess he is the last.
Yeah, that's
ever
true.
Since Drew Brees retired, of that 2000s era of quarterback, the Bradys, the Mannings, the Breeze. I guess Phillip Rivers came back for 4 games last year. That was weird.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's almost
the
done.
end of an era, quote unquote. All right.
How do you feel about this as, a fan of his longtime rival, the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, so I'm tired of seeing this man's face. All right. So yeah, let's get him out of here. All right. It's a new time for both organizations. All right.
True.
The Bears and Green Bay. Yet they still speak of this man with quite a lot of reverence and such. And I'm like,
Sure.
I'm sure that y'all still got posters on your wall, whatever. But we don't care about none of that over here. All right. I'm glad to see this wrapping up, especially considering like how things went last season, and how people were still speaking like maybe there's a chance, like and the conversation on ESPN and everywhere else too about this man just gets so exhausting. I'm like, look,
Yeah.
and then you get ready to coach, and you expect this to be a better situation right now in this scenario with this man still on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
You got someone like you've got the kind of guy that was, a figurehead for stability, and now things are going about that they are. I'm supposed to expect this is gonna get better.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers has had such a fascinating career, kind of coming into the league as a bit of an underdog, narratively, falling in the drafts, being the backup to Brett Favre, having big shoes to fill and somehow managing to fill them and being like the next great Green Bay quarterback.
Yeah,
winning
that's
a Super Bowl
fair.
there early in his career. And then it's like, you take that first half of his career, and it was like rather easy to root for, except for, you, fan of the Bears, sort of guy, right? And then the second half has just been marred in controversy and arrogance and
A mess.
vaccine skepticism and weird political alignments and just stupid bullshit in the off season.
Nonsense.
Darkness retreats and taking my time to make the decision, and it's like the way people like got mad at like LeBron for how he did like the decision. It's like Aaron Rodgers has done that like 4 times.
Yeah, he knows the fan base that he was involved in both times.
Yeah. And it has just been so annoying. He's become quite a character.
And I'm
in
sure
the
there's gonna
back
be
half of
something
his
ridiculous too after he retires. There'll probably be some stupid sports documentary and some other nonsense.
He'll go host the show where he'll talk about ridiculous shit every week, or he'll be some political figure. He'll do something stupid after he's done. 100%. That I know for sure. But this is last ride. This is gonna be it. Only a rare few Hall of Fame players are able to kind of pre-announce their final season and go on that last ride sort of situation. So we'll see how it goes. And I think I'll be there at that Ravens game, week 17 or week 18.
I want to see like just the phone angle. All right, when this man throws a third pick, and it's just
phone angle. You might see me on the field. I might run on the field, take my shirt off. Yeah.
This man's ready for everything. All right. For any of your Pittsburgh fans, I know you're doubtful. You don't want to say it. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to pretend that everything's okay, but it's not. All right. They're over there already, just like on their phones, on Twitter and such. Like, no, he still got it in him. Just like
accusations.
Yeah. Don't talk to them like that. All right. You understand? All right. No. Okay. It's a wrap. There's no way. There's no way that they're making it back there.
Yeah.
Strap in.
This is it. This is the last ride. And congratulations. It's been a long ass time.
Congratulations.
More basketball coach news. We reported when the Magic fired Jamal Mosley. And now he's been hired. He's the Pelicans head coach. Going from the Magic, where he kind of led them to the playoffs, I think, 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
To now the New Orleans Pelicans, where he will do his best to fix up that broken franchise.
It's been rough as hell for the Pelicans, but at the same time, like, in my opinion, like, this is a good get. I wasn't expecting the Magic to drop in this, and yes, it's been like 5 seasons or so, but at the same time, like, there's been plenty of turmoil happening there too, in different ways. Like, I think Mosley's a good coach. Obviously, like, Orlando wants to see more change happen in different ways, or like someone's got to go. Type of mentality happening after you end up where you are for multiple seasons. But yeah, I think that this is someone they can actually build with in a way that makes sense. They got a lot to build up, but I can see some consistency happening here with him involved.
Yeah, like you said, consistency. What I think, when he came to the Magic, his big thing was he helped improve that franchise. The Magic sucked. Yeah. They were a below 500 lottery team when he got there, and he turned them into a playoff mainstay, at least for a few years. So I think the idea with the Pelicans is they should do the same thing there, right? Get them from being one of the worst teams in the league to maybe not the top contender, but at least in the mix. I think that'd be a vast improvement for them if they could at least just be in the conversation at some point.
I'm curious if he went through precautions in this situation where hey, look, you saw where I'm just left from my previous situation. Don't have me doing all the heavy lifting, just to toss me out. But yeah, I think it's a good move for them.
Yeah, I am quite interested to see what happens with the Pelicans because they have a lot of young talent.
Yeah.
We'll see if that blossoms in anything. I hope it does. It'd be cool to see that team doing something special. And then, speaking of doing special things, Rashee Rice, Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver, has been sentenced to 30 days in jail after violating his probation by, I believe, smoking weed. He, of course, was on probation due to his participation in a vehicular incident that took place a couple years ago, I think.
Yeah.
At this point. And now he's going to spend 30 days in jail as he rehabs an injury he suffered last year. So,
yeah, so imagine being in prison and trying to rehab.
Yeah, it can't be fun. But, it's also probably not fun to be injured or killed in a car accident because
yes, exactly.
Of reckless drivers.
Hopefully he has time to think about his actions again, but also the Chiefs, so in some of this scenario, originally, I don't understand, bro. Is it the people you're hanging around, a mixture of inner turmoil and such? Things happen mentally, but bro, you can't keep fucking up like this.
Yeah, it's, a question I ask myself a lot with these professional athletes, but it's, they get that life-changing money, they're uber talented, they're influential, and they just, they feel like they can do whatever the hell they want, and it's just not reality. And so
Also
yeah,
says it seems
we'll
like
see.
his group of friends in Texas are a problem. I mean, hey, look, when you're when you're bringing in the cash, like there's plenty of folks that want to stick around, whether they're healthy for you or not. They're gonna be the life of the party, the good time, and everything else in those scenarios, and say, hey man, hey look, I'm gonna take care of you. We're gonna get everything else together. You just show up.
Yeah,
Knowing it's the worst possible scenario to put him in.
yeah, no, so this stuff pops up in the off season. Yeah, off season's always dangerous for these guys. Like I said, all that money, and now they're back home where they grew up, or they're hanging out with friends, they're traveling the world and spending all that money, and it's getting into shenanigans and bullshit. Um, yeah, with that amount of money on the line, don't smoke weed. Yeah, it's like I get it. Like smoking weed's not a bad thing, but you're on probation, bro. Just serve out
Yeah.
your probation. It's like it's even that is too much to ask of folks. But it's what happens. It's what happens. That is gonna wrap up our sports segment, Denny, which I think means it's time to bid farewell to the YouTube version of our stream because we're gonna get into some live reactions. We got some
Yeah.
trailers to watch, both on the film and television end, but because of YouTube and copyright, we are not going to stream those trailers over there. But you can join us on Twitch or on X.com to watch us react. We're about to check out Vought Rising, which is the spin-off of The Boys, Lanterns, Hope, and Strung. So,
Yeah, I got some interesting ones. I'm dropping a link to the Twitch over there on the YouTube end. If anyone's hanging out on YouTube, feel free to swing on over to the Twitch side for the live reaction side. Leave us a like though on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up button. If anyone's hanging out or lurking.
Please do.
But yeah, I'm gonna wrap up things on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in for that side. We're still live over on Twitch, Twitter, and the Facebooks.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Waiting to come